Essentially, there are three fundamental fatal flaws in the NHI proposals. Two of them relate to the institutional design, and one of them is the fiscal framework, and deals with financing. On the institutional side, the proposal involves centralizing huge amounts of power under a single organization, with what is the second major flaw, which is under a political corporate governance design, which means that the organization is not accountable properly to public bodies or to the country, but is actually accountable to a political party. So political appointments into a monopoly structure is a recipe for disaster, and too many powers are concentrated that are very significant. These are powers over procurement, powers over what is accreditation or licensing, which is effectively coming through the Office of Health Standards Compliance, which is responsible for accrediting the organizations that will be permitted to contract with the National Health Insurance Fund. And when you combine procurement, appointments, and licensing under political structures, the Office of Health Standards Compliance is entirely political appointments. You're essentially going to face the institutionalized corruption that we faced in every other state-owned enterprise and every provincial department. The idea that monopolies somehow induce efficiency is a complete fallacy. Everybody knows that monopolies are a problem, essentially because too much power is concentrated in the hands of too few people, and you really have no other alternatives when they go bad. The further aspect is the financial aspect. The fiscal framework just cannot support the idea of a fund through a general tax increase, all medical scheme members coming into the state structure, which is what this is proposing. That is just completely irrational. It is not going to happen ever. But it is very much a feature of the design. But that shows the intention that people have an intention of concentrating virtually the purchasing of all healthcare in South Africa under one organization. But the fiscal side is never going to happen, and the amount of money that would have to be raised through general taxes is it's just not possible. It would exceed 3.5% of GDP, and there's no possibility of that ever arising in our lifetimes.